Gentlefolk, ferals, and domesticated cryptids, welcome back to Wonder Bathos. This is episode number 34, and tonight's guest is a staple in the Mario ROM hack community. He is a wonderful dude, super good at Mario ROM hacks. I'm honored to have him on the show. This is Omnom formerly.
What's up, Bathos? Thanks so much for having me.
Dude, thanks for being here, man. I'm trying to remember exactly our first interaction when I first met you. It all goes back to that comment. Like I had posted like a sappy like, dude, I'm having a rough time, like life sucks right now, and like I'm sorry about posting so much. And I have this screenshot saved where you commented and was like, dude, like I know it sucks sometimes to like go through stuff, and like I just want you to know I enjoy reading your posts, and like it really it touched my heart, man. It made me feel good about being a content creator and doing stuff like that. So like you're always gonna have a place in my heart as like a positive force. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, that means a lot. Like, it's funny. Even though I stream, I spend like 95% of my time on Twitch lurking, And it's like you'd tweet and I'd see it like good morning, and like apparently we get up around the same time. So it's just like, I've had days like that. I hear that.
Yep.
I'm going to say something.
Hell yeah. Well, in order to kind of get the audience a little bit more familiar with you, I do have to ask your name. Where did it come from?
Yeah, my name, Omnom. It's just, it's the exaggerated eating noise. Like, I'm a chef. I went to culinary school. I've got my like logo shirt on, which is a Mario chef hat. Like, it's literally just the exaggerated eating noise. Some people have been, is it a Team Fortress reference? Is it a Cookie Monster reference? And like, I suppose just because those characters like to eat, but it's literally just like, I love eating food. I love making food. I love hearing people like nom nom on my food.
That's super cool to have the symbol tied into that too, like because it's like a Mario chef hat, because like you play Mario, you're chef. I think that's awesome that it ties both those things together so neatly. I feel often like my name's so stupid. It's like the movie Tron and then like Peach Optimos, and I'm like I can't make that a symbol. Like that can't be like a symbol or it's just a dumb username I've had since I was like 16.
Nice. Yeah, my first screen name was Mr. Rogers, M1STERR0GERS.
That
was my first like.
That's incredible.
Screen name.
I feel like if you still had that on Twitch now, you'd probably be like a partner with like thousands of viewers.
Maybe. Yeah, that was a good one.
Do you want to check out Bob Ross streams today, or do you want to see Mr. Rogers? Oh, let's go see what Mr. Rogers is doing, and then you can wear like the cardigan. It'd be so great.
Right.
So you're a chef. You're also a Twitch streamer. Like how did you find Twitch? How did this? I mean, tell the story in whatever order you want to tell, because I'm gonna ask like how you got into ROM hacks too. Like if those two things tie together or not.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, the first time I found Twitch, I was watching YouTube. I was watching a Borderlands streamer, JoltsDude139, and he used to do these like, I'm also live on Twitch, which you can't do anymore. He would literally release a 10-second YouTube video that says he was live on Twitch. So from there, I found Twitch, and at some point along that line, also in my YouTube feed, Mario Maker started coming up, and I didn't really know about Mario Maker. I didn't, was aware of it, but didn't really know it was a thing. And I've always loved the like Super Nintendo 2D platformers. So it was kind of like, oh wow, people are making new Mario stuff. This is pretty cool. So I started searching for more, Mario streamers as well, and I eventually ended up kind of drifting like way back into the ROM hack scene. I started with Mario Maker, as far as playing. But I grew up playing Super Mario World. I grew up playing Donkey Kong Country. So I started with Maker. It was kind of more accessible just to like buy a console, and not have to like do the whole ROM hacking thing, patching ROMs and all that. But then once I made the switch, like back to SMW, back to Super Mario World ROM hacks, I never looked back. I mean, these games have always been my favorite. Like my first console as a kid was a Super Nintendo. I got a Super Nintendo like as the Nintendo 64 was coming out. So it was kind of like those games were still new and fresh to me while other people are playing whatever, Super Mario
Right,
64
right.
or Mario Kart. Um, I just kind of stuck with them. I just kind of like kept playing the Donkey Kong Country series, the Super Mario World series. Um, I've always kind of like picked a game and fixated on it. I don't play a lot of variety. I play on Twitch almost exclusively Super Mario World ROM hacks. So instead of trying to find the newest cool whatever games, I just kept playing the platformers that I loved. And
Going back to
discovering
the
that there's this
greats.
whole yeah, exactly, and discovering there's this whole community filled with people that are making, essentially unlimited new challenging Mario World games. Like it's like holy shit, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. Like this is
Right.
this is what I've wanted.
It is pretty
It
wild because I grew up kind of the same way. It was like 1994, 1995, and like the first console I was introduced to. I would play a lot of like regular SMB1, SMB2, SMB3 was like my mom's favorite game, and like the
mm,
original Zelda. And so we would dust off the Nintendo and we would play Nintendo. And I think like eventually my brother got a PlayStation that I wasn't allowed to play because he was just a dick. And then I finally got my own Nintendo. My mom and dad finally got me a Nintendo 64 when it finally came out. And just, yeah, Mario, huge part of my upbringing and like my introduction into video games as well. And so I think that's incredible. So as far as equipment, are so you're using a Super NT and an FX pack, or
So
like what?
I play on a Super Nintendo. I've got an ST to SNES, which is like the FX pack before it became FX pack.
Oh,
Um,
that's so cool.
yeah, and I mean I play on a CRT TV. I've got a 13-inch Panasonic just to my right over here.
Nice.
Um, and the only thing that I use that's a little bit more modern, I use a PS4 controller. I switched to that relatively recently in the sense of the past year or so.
Really?
I've got a I've got a little, it's like a retro receiver is what it's called. So it
Right.
fits in the Super Nintendo controller port, but then it's a USB that can connect controllers. Um,
Is it for the D-pad? Is the D-pad really nice on it?
it's mostly, honestly, it's mostly for hand pain. It's mostly because like a Super Nintendo controller, it's just, it was a children's toy. It was not designed for like epic gaming in mind.
Intense gameplay, yeah.
Exactly, intense gameplay, so I found myself, like, especially, like, on the bottom of my hand where I'm, like, gripping. I don't know if there we go. Um, my hands were starting to be, like, cramped up, and I wouldn't have a lot of pain, but it would be kind of a constant ache. So something had to change. I knew I had to change something. Um, and I experimented with the PS5 controller, PS4. Honestly, didn't love the D-pad with either of them. But then I ended up modding a PS4 controller, so instead of a D-pad, it's separate D buttons. And that worked out. So it ended up being, at this point now, I'm probably better with the PlayStation 4 controller than I was with the Super Nintendo controller.
I'll tell you the best
Um,
controller that I've ever used, hands down, was the Pokken tournament controller. And it sucks. I still use it now, but the one I'm using now is the Pokken tournament controller from like the Wii days. And
okay.
the first one I got was for the Switch, and it is incredible. It was
Nice.
just like had the perfect D-pad on it. And now when I play ROM hacks, though, I'm using the 8-bit dough, and it seems to work all right. Like I don't really have any like receiver lag. They update the firmware and stuff on it pretty I don't, what's the word I'm looking, frequently.
Frequently.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, they update it pretty frequently. I like it, but it seems everybody kind of has their own opinion on what the best controller to use is. I hear a lot of people say the PS5 has like the best D-pad and is the best for doing ROM hacks and stuff. So that's crazy. You're the first person I've heard say the PlayStation 4. I use a PlayStation 4 controller for everything PC gaming
Sure.
related, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I get the comfort aspect of it is really
Yeah.
nice.
That's exactly, it's comfort, and it's like, these games, Super Mario World Kaizo is very input intense. You're pushing a lot of buttons, your hands are doing a lot. So I just had to, it's like, I'm 36 years old. I'm not getting any younger. Like, I don't want to give myself like I like these games, but I'm not trying to get arthritis over
Yeah.
playing video games.
Yeah.
You know.
I get that. I felt that, dude, when I was playing Grand Poo World, man. After some of those like 8 or 9 hour sessions, it's just like my hand is just so cramped up, and I'm like, this is awful.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you play claw, or do you play like just regular configuration?
I play pretty regular grip with some like cape levels. Um, for anyone not familiar with Super Mario World, the basic buttons are that the Y button is like grab, it makes you run, and it makes you like spin, like if you have a cape on. So there's some cape levels where you have to like continue holding Y, and then the X and A button do, X button does the exact same thing as the Y button. So I'll like kind of like creep my finger around to do like a spin while I'm flying. But aside from that, it's just a pretty normal, pretty, I don't know, normal grip.
Right, right. Yeah, I can't do the claw, and then I see people get hitboxes and stuff, and I'm like, that looks so awesome, but having to reteach yourself how to use a controller like that just seems so like daunting. It just seems like such a huge task. But everybody that does it says they love it.
Yeah,
They
and I feel the same way that it's like a hitbox seems cool, but the idea of like going back to having no idea how to play these games um is I don't know. It's not I don't know if it's a bridge I want to cross. I don't want to spend however much time. I don't get a whole ton of time, especially in the context of being a streamer. Like I play maybe 6 8 hours a week on Twitch.
right.
And to
Same.
dedicate so much of that time to relearning how to play, I just want to play the games.
That's how I feel. We were talking about Kamek World earlier, and I'm like, man, dude, Dan put 200 hours into it, but like pretty much back to back. He did it over the course of like a couple months, like pretty much
Sure.
back to back. And it's like I play, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 hours a week, and so I'm just hoping that having that time, like I'm gonna go ham on it for a couple hours. Maybe after a week, I come back to it, go ham on it a little bit. Maybe I can get it done a little bit faster, just because like that information has had a little bit of time to marinate, and like maybe I'll just
Sure.
get lucky, instead of going through and playing. Because I just can't do levels where you have to. I can't play a level for more than like an hour and a half at a time now, because I don't want to sacrifice that much of my gaming time a week to like one task.
Sure.
But I am getting more and more into like playing harder games. And over the last like year and a half, 2 years, I've really fallen in love with like the Dark Souls series. And
Nice.
apparently a lot of people in that community play claw too, and I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm like, dude, I can't, man. I gotta hold the controller like normal. I
Yeah.
got fat thumbs though. Like if I gotta hold two buttons at once, like I got this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
I can make it happen.
Yeah.
So I've been looking into recently ROM hacks of other franchises. Have you considered or thought about doing like any Donkey Kong ROM hacks, or like Metroid? Because like like you said, there's like an infinite supply of like cool
Sure.
shit that people have made out there.
Yeah, so I've played a little bit of Donkey Kong Country Unveiled, which is a Donkey Kong Country 2 ROM hack. Not a whole heck of a lot. I am very like I don't know. I like my Super Mario World kaizo. Donkey Kong Country 2 was the first game I like ever. I don't know. Really tried to like get good at, like more than just playing a game. That it was like the Donkey Kong Country series tells you how long you've spent on your file. So if you get the 100% in Donkey Kong Country 1, it's 101. Donkey Kong Country 2, it's 102%, and so on. But it'll tell you like you got 102% and it took you 3 hours and 45 minutes or whatever.
Right.
So like even as a kid, when I was like didn't know what speedrunning was, didn't know speedrunning was a thing, I was quote unquote speedrunning trying to beat my own time. So Donkey Kong Country 2 holds a special place in my heart, and I played a little bit of Donkey Kong Country Unveiled. But I mean, for the most part, I love my Super Mario World, and that's pretty much like I always find myself going back. I'll play a different game for a stream or like check it out, but then it's like, oh, I've got this game I'm in the middle of, and I'm having a great
Right.
time, and I'm making
Right.
progress, and you know, pretty much just stick to it.
Stick to it. Do you have any thoughts on any of the newer Mario games coming out? Have you kept up with any of the, like, the Wonder stuff or anything like that? Any desire to play that, or just strictly you're just strictly SMW?
I mean, honestly, Super Mario Wonder is the game that I'm most interested in as far as like new games that have come out. Like, I played a little bit of New Super Mario Bros. Wii because we got
Mm.
a Wii. Like I said before, a little bit of Maker. But I tend to just love the SMW physics. But I've heard that Super Mario Wonder, from those that have played it, from you were talking about it,
Yeah.
that it's got kind of that faster control that Super Mario World has, and I find myself more interested in it than I have been in almost any game in a long time. But I also don't have a Switch. You know, I have a Super Nintendo, I've got a Wii U, I've got an Xbox 360. So that would be the biggest hurdle there
Right.
is having to drop the money on a console
Yeah,
to
not having
play.
the game or the console definitely puts it. I am right there with you. It
Yeah,
definitely puts a
yeah,
damper in it. But I like to window shop, man. I like to look and think about it. You know, I went to Target so I could play the demo, and like it was a
sure.
lot of fun. It was
Yeah, I should
great.
do that. We got a Target in town. I should go down there and actually try it myself. I've
Do
seen,
it.
you posted a clip doing a shell jump. I've seen a couple of those, and it's like I gotta at least shell jump in this new game.
I would have played the demo if I wasn't in a hurry to get in and out of there. Like, I would have played the demo like 7 more times, and like,
Nice.
even the way the demo is set up is really cool. Like, it's not you just play the first 2 levels and it's over. You can only play 2 levels, but they open up the map after the first level, and so like you can literally go to like way further in the game and check out the other levels. So like you could play a level 2, the demo ends, you can restart it, play that first level to open it back up, and then go check out like the other levels and challenges and stuff. It's really freaking cool how they have it set up.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. And it's another thing with Wonder that I think is, neat, is that I've seen some like there's a bubble power up. And it's like the bubble power up was from a ROM hack in like 2016 or something like that. I don't
Right.
remember the creator, but it's just kind of interesting to think about, is Nintendo kind of keeping an eye on the ROM hacking community?
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. They have to be. I think that's one of the
oh
only
yeah,
reasons they haven't shut it down yet. As close to their hearts as they keep some of the IP and stuff. Because like Pokemon games, it's like, what? Why are they not releasing these? Why is like Red, Blue, and Yellow like not available on the Switch? Even for sale. You know
right.
what I mean? Like, because they're just keeping themselves from making money, and like there's huge communities of gamers out there that are keeping these franchises alive, and like having to buy like secondhand copies for like buku amounts of money that Nintendo's
Right.
not seeing a dime from. And it's like, instead of somebody having to spend $200 on a cartridge to be able to play this game, like Nintendo could sell it at a reasonable price. They make the money off of it. I don't know. I love the
Yeah, I
collect.
mean
I
they could
love the
just
collector
very
life. I do. I get it, and I love it, and I love that things increase in value. But I think that there are some ridiculous things out there that are way overpriced that should be more readily available to like a bigger market.
Oh, I mean, it's like I've got Earthlight, I've kind of got my collection over here. I've got Earthbound over there, and it's like I bought that, I don't know, 6 years ago or something for $200, and now it's,
Oof.
way more than that. And it's
Yeah.
like, although there's so many games like that, there's so many games that, Nintendo is very strictly like keeping people from downloading the ROMs of, but they're also not, as you said, they're not releasing it, and it just seems like kind of an unfortunate juxtaposition of putting people in a tough spot that want to play these classics that,
Yeah.
Nintendo has this massive library of games that people just love, and I'd love to see it. Even if I don't play it as much, I play most of my stuff, like I said, on the SD to SNES, but I'd love to know that there were all 700 whatever Super Nintendo games available for Switch download. You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
Super Nintendo
for
games,
younger
4 MB.
for younger audiences too, to keep it alive, because like now we're gonna have
Sure.
an entire generation of kids that come into like Mario Wonder, you know what I mean? And like
Right.
maybe some of them are curious enough to go back through the catalog and get to SMW and then like fall in love with that and with like the retro gaming. But then, you're gonna have the other half of those people are gonna be like, oh no, that's the shitty old games, you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
it's Mario Wonder and anything that comes out after this. you know, and
Right.
like I want to see these things thrive. Like there's such a hunger for retro gaming in the gaming community, you know, and you know, back when we were kids, there were not a whole lot of people that were our age or older that were like playing those games, you know, like there weren't,
Right.
you know, and so now we are going to grow gray and old, you know, we're going to be in our 70s and 80s and we're still going to be playing games like Super Mario World. Like that's just the world that we live in now, you
Right.
know? And so like, I wish that gaming would kind of catch up to that and get to that
For
point
sure.
too, you know? But
It's
also,
like,
man, the fan made thing is so freaking cool, dude. ROM hacks just in general, and
yeah.
like that ability to take, okay, well, these are the original assets. We're going to rearrange them and make an entirely new experience out of it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And that's, I mean, for folks that don't know, it's like, that's what Kaizo Mario World means. It's like the whole Japanese name is longer than that. But it basically means rearranged Mario World. It's not, Kaizo never meant hard or difficult or frustrating. It just meant changed. It meant rearranged. And it's so out of love. It's so made like, we love this game. Let's keep finding new ways to enjoy it.
Keep it alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's super cool, man. And I love the fact that you still play on a CRT too. We were talking about that as well, that like people are putting CRT TVs on eBay and stuff for like incredulous amounts of money. And like
Oh,
you
yeah.
can,
And that's such a funny thing.
you can
Like,
find people
when
in your
I was looking for
community
my
that are trying to
CRT,
give them away.
yeah, exactly. I found mine on the Facebook Marketplace, and it was like, this woman that sold it to me was almost embarrassed to ask for $10, and I was like, "This is perfect. This is like, you have no idea how perfect this is." And it was like the same TV was on eBay as a retro gaming TV for $100 plus however much it costs to freaking ship a CRT
Yep.
across the country. You know?
That is insane. It's crazy. All right. So, did you tell us how you wait? Did you even tell us where your name came from? Did we ever even cover that?
Yeah, just the nom nom nom, the eating noise.
Just the eating thing. And so, how long? How
Yeah.
long have you had that name? Like, how long have you been rocking that?
So, okay, so this could be a long story depending how
Let,
deep we want to go, but the first time
as
I
deep,
ever
only
used
as
it,
deep
so
as you want to go, dude. We got plenty of
sure.
time.
Yeah, so I worked seasonally in Yellowstone National Park for a long time. That's where I met my wife. We were working seasonally, bouncing back and forth.
I saw your pictures,
Um,
by the way. That was super cool with the geyser going off in the background. That's
yeah,
incredible. That's super awesome,
yeah. For
man.
a side note, like I said, my wife and I met in Yellowstone, and we were together for a long time. We never got married. We kind of just figured, like, yeah, we know what we are. We don't need to bring anything else into this. But we
For
did
sure.
decide to get married last year. But we just got like a land use permit, and went in front of Old Faithful and got married in front of Old Faithful. And that was the area we worked. So in Yellowstone, there's, I think, 6 different major locations. Like there's Old Faithful, and there's 2 restaurants and a hotel in that area. Then there's the lake, and there's a restaurant and hotel, and Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. And again, a bunch of people work there. A lot of people stay there when they visit. So we spent most of our time in the Old Faithful area. Um, so it was just amazing to go back to the park. I don't live too far from Yellowstone. Um, so it's not like it was a journey, it was a
Right.
it was a long drive, but just a drive. Um, but yeah, that was an amazing experience.
Hell yeah.
Um,
That's awesome.
anyhow, they have like, employees live there. You can't commute to Yellowstone. You live in Yellowstone when you work there. So there's a bunch of different like recreation stuff, and one of the things is a softball league. Um, and I don't know, like everyone put goofy names on their softball jerseys. I think this was in 2012. Um, and I put nom 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 nom, and I think 2 noms, who knows.
Right.
And that was the first time I ever used it. And then after that, every year for softball, I would be nom nom on my jersey. And then as far as Twitch goes, it was just when I found Twitch, I was like, yeah, that one works. That's the nickname I've been rocking the most. And I just typed in nom nom, and it didn't work. And I typed another nom.
Yeah, I was
That one
gonna
was
say it's
taken.
crazy how many variations of your name are on Twitch. There's a lot of Omnom variations on there. Like I thought I had it bad. There's like probably 3 or 4 like different variations of my name that people have taken, but you have it's an entire list. Like I couldn't even find your name the first time. Like I had to make sure it was spelled exactly right to be able to find your account.
Yeah, and that's, we were saying earlier, like, if I knew I was gonna stream, I would have gone shorter. I would have found a way to probably still incorporate Om Nom Nom in some way, but it's like it's such a long, clunky version of Om Nom Nom. But I just wanted to like, there was I was talking. The first streamer I found on Twitch was a Borderlands streamer. I found out what subscribing was, so I wanted to subscribe and get his emotes. But I didn't even have an account, so I had to sign up an account, and I just kept adding noms and noms and noms, and here we are with 4 noms and 2 underscores.
Yep. Yep. It seems I know for like starting out and getting to that point, it does make it easier to have like like an easier to type in and remember name, but there are a lot of bigger creators out there that have like giant ridiculous names too, though,
Sure.
that are like super
Yeah.
complicated, and like they do just fine with it. So I mean, like it's not exactly like, I don't want to say it's like probably not the biggest detriment either, but hey, maybe you hit Twitch partner someday, and then like you can steal the variation that you want from whatever user. Like there's an Opto account on Twitch, and nobody has streamed from there in like 6 or 7 years, and like every once in a while I'll check to see if it'll let me get it, and like they are not going to let me have it, and unless like if I were to hit partner, I can have it. Like they will give me that name, and I can take just Opto, because like I want that 4-letter. It's so sweet. It rolls off the tongue. It's easy. Like
Right. And that's I haven't tried to change my name too much, but I've thought about like, seeing the whatever Om Nom Nom username that never streams, has not been, around for years, and just trying to find a way to reach out to them and, offer money for the name or whatever.
right.
But I mean, I don't like beat myself up over it. I'm not streaming's 100% like a hobby for me. Like, obviously, it's super cool to have people sub to me. It's super cool, like, to have a bunch of viewers and people chatting. But at the end of the day, like, my goal with streaming is just to, like, hang out with other people that like this kind of niche hobby that I like, and chat.
Yeah,
And,
it's just the community. Yeah, you're not
exactly.
trying to be the next ninja or anything. Like I get that.
Right.
That's healthy. That's definitely a healthy mentality. When I started, I was like, dude, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be a full-time streamer. I'm gonna like that was, I wanted it. I wanted it really bad. And then I ended up after a few years, I actually went full time for a year, and like it did not pan out, and like I ended up taking 6 months off, and then like when I came back to it, like I kind of fell in love with it all over again, with like
Nice.
like a different mindset. It was like, no, it's more, this is about the community, and like I love the people here, and like I couldn't imagine my life without some of these people, and like I just want to build this community. And so like
Yeah.
it's been a wonderful like refresh back into the scene and doing this again. Like that's kind of where this came from, was like, dude, I want something like a podcast where I can hang out with my friends and like bond with them, and like, yeah, no, it's super cool. It's super cool. So
Yeah, and that's, I watched Twitch for a long time before I started streaming. I mentioned I'm a chef. I was an executive chef of a very big restaurant for a long time. And I was working like 70, 80-hour weeks. I'd get home, my wife would be either in bed and asleep or just barely staying awake. So I would just kind of go onto the computer and load up Twitch and watch Mario players, and I'd play Kaizo, and I just didn't, I wanted to stream, but I did not have the energy to, like, after a freaking 14-hour day of work, load up a webcam and be on, no matter how.
be that entertainer mentality. Yeah, no, I get that. I
Right.
definitely get that. I mean, your
Yeah, and it's
streams are like super chill and laid back too. I mean, there's something to be said for that though. Like I definitely try to embody that. Like when I hit the go live button, I want to put out I don't want to change who I am and be somebody I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I want to be myself, but I want to put out like the most energy that I can, like I want to be entertaining and stuff. But there are so many like incredible streamers on Twitch that don't try like at all. They just are awesome, like they don't mind if there's any quiet parts, they might just be quiet and play and focus on the game for a little bit, and then come back and talk to chat when like, chat starts popping or whatever, and like I definitely just, you have a very awesome, like very welcoming and warm stream that it's like, dude, I can chill and vibe with this when I'm in there. And so like I just wanted to say like you have an amazing stream.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yours is pretty great too. You can tell you're having fun. You know, you might be like putting energy out, but you can tell you're having a good time, and that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, especially even when things are breaking and not working
Yeah,
properly.
exactly.
It's just
Exactly.
the multitasking is hard. Like when shit starts breaking,
Sure.
like I don't mind when things like go wrong and like you're having a bunch of technical problems. My problem is, oh no, my brain is broken. I don't know how to talk to chat and also troubleshoot this problem at the same time, and I just kind of go into like this drool mode where I'm just like, what's
Yeah.
going on? Like I don't know how to handle this. Yeah, even though I've been through it hundreds of times now, like every time it's something new, it's something different has gone wrong, and it's like you got to figure it out and get it fixed.
Right. Live in front of however many people.
Yeah, yeah. This has now become a maintenance stream. We're now doing technical
Right.
difficulties. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh man. So you kind of answered my next question a little bit,
Sure.
but I'm gonna go ahead and ask it anyway. So like, you're not trying to go full time or be like a career streamer or anything like that. But do you have any goals with streaming and with Twitch and the community? Like, do you have any milestones you're trying to hit? Like, just anything that you have your heart set on accomplishing with it.
I mean, not specifically, no. I don't like right now. I just hit like 700 followers, so I started thinking like, you know what, 1,000 would be pretty cool. You know, it's like don't get me wrong, it's like the goal isn't there, but like, oh, it feels good to see people follow. It feels good to have like an
Yeah.
active
Yeah.
chat.
Absolutely.
Like, I love it. It's great. So I mean, the only goal is to kind of, continue being a part of the community, continue, it's like we're talking about ROM hack races. Um, every week there's a brand new kaizo level released on Saturday nights, twitch.tv/ROM hack races. Um, and it's like it's an amazing way for people to get into kaizo, get into kind of making kaizo because you only have to make a single level. And it's like I play tested for them a lot. I moderate for that chat. It's like so all I want to do is continue being an active part of this community that means so much to me, and just kind of hopefully continue that steady path of growth. I mean, I do like having an active chat. I mean, that's my main goal is just like stream enough and have enough people watch me that like there are people in here chatting with me while I play Mario. You
Hell
know,
yeah.
it's just
That's
that community, like you said, the community aspect. It's just like having friends over to play games.
yeah.
You know,
It's
that's
super humble and healthy goals. That's awesome. I love to see it. I hope that you hit 1,000. I hope that you get that milestone. You hit 1,000. I'm right there with you, man. I've been trying to hit this next milestone of followers for a while now, and
sure.
now things are starting to pick back up, and I'm starting to gain some more followers every stream, and I'm like, oh, I'm
Nice.
starting to get hopeful again. I'm like, dude, it's almost there. We're gonna hit it. It's coming up, and like
Yeah.
it is nice to see that growth, and there's nothing wrong with wanting a little bit of growth and being happy with it. I think with streaming, like, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think with streaming, like, it's really the healthiest mindset is kind of like having like a Buddhist mindset about it. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
not wanting what you don't have, you know what I mean, necessarily. Being happy with what you have, but also allowing allowing that room to grow, and being happy about that, and any growth that you do get. You get
Yeah.
a lot of gung ho people, and like I hate seeing people that get super excited about getting into streaming, and like they're so, like, for lack of a better word, they're like naive to how it all
Sure.
works, and how people, and like they expect, just immediately as soon as they start hitting that go live button for things to start blowing up for them, and like seeing how much of a grind it really is, and like the amount of work you have to put into it, and people not really understanding like the community aspect of it. Like, you have to put time, like, into the community. People aren't just gonna like
Yeah.
find you on a whim. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta make friends, and be a
Right.
part of that community. Like, you get out of it what you put into it. But
Yeah, I think streaming is super easy to like look at a big streamer and think like, "Oh, they play video games for a living." Like
yeah,
that's all
yeah.
they have to do
Yeah.
is play video games. And it's like you don't see the hours that they're putting into, marketing themselves and networking and editing YouTube videos and whatever else it is.
Working on overlays and setting up sound alerts and doing all the crazy shit
Right.
that goes on behind the scenes. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Exactly.
Where I was getting at with
Like,
that thought though
honestly,
is seeing people get into it and like then immediately fall off of it or give up, and like it's so disheartening because you're like, dude, like you just got into it and like now you're quitting because like it's not exactly where you thought it would be after whatever 6 months, you know.
right.
And like yeah, it is it's disheartening, and like I just wish that more people getting into it had like more of a realistic expectation of it. I think people that get into it for the gaming aspect of it, like especially with like the Kaizo Mario community, you know, like they love playing Kaizo, you know, like they see people play it, they want to get into it, they start learning, they start playing, and then like streaming ends up being like a byproduct of that. And then I think those
Right.
people do like really well and really enjoy what they do.
Yeah, and that's all I'm, that's what I'm doing. It's like I don't know. I feel like it's such a niche kind of game, and that it feel anything's bonus. It's still I'll wrap up stream a lot, just kind of saying like it blows my mind that people want to sit here and listen to me talk and watch me play Mario. It's like it's true. I'm going on 3 years of streaming, and it's still just like wild to me that these people that I looked up to in the community will come by and chat and be impressed with what I do, and like it's just like so like I don't know, mind blowing to me that like
They
I get
say,
any viewers at all.
I mean, they say that if you put anything on the internet, like if you make videos or any sort of content, if you keep putting it on the internet and you get it in front of the right people, there's always going to be somebody out there who wants to watch it. And after seeing some videos and stuff on TikTok or YouTube or whatever that get millions of views, you're like, I believe it. You
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah,
I definitely believe it, because like, you know, what, not even 10 years ago, like people were getting big from like, and I mean they still do now, but I mean like there was a huge explosion of just like vloggers, you know what I mean? They weren't doing
right,
anything special, they weren't doing the Mr. Beast thing or like going out and causing havoc in public, you know, like they were literally just like, this is what I'm doing today, you know, like
right.
I woke up and I made breakfast and I did this, and this is like just like this is my life and what I do, and like people want to watch that, and I think it's crazy, you know, people want to live like vicariously through others. So like I
Sure.
think that you add in, you know, a little bit of personality and the fact that you're playing a niche game that people might not necessarily know how to get into, you know, and they want to learn more. I think that's incredible, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, so you're been in the I've been wanting to ask this question since we started, and like
Sure.
if you want to pass on this question, definitely feel free, because I don't want to make anybody feel bad. But I was gonna ask you, like, who's your favorite Kaizo Mario player? Definitely,
My
you know,
favorite.
big shout outs to Panga for being like the godfather of all of it, you know,
Sure.
for sure. But um who's yours? And I'll tell you
Yeah,
mine.
so I mean probably like as far as like the I don't know, the old heads, the people that got me into it, Glitchcat 7 is probably my favorite.
Dude, solid
He
choice. I love Glitch Cat.
Yeah. I mean, he's just an amazing player, and I just feel like I don't know. It's there's a certain like he's just so real. He wears his heart in his sleeve, and he's just a real dude. Um, and I'm impressed by his gameplay. I generally find myself in like real like interesting conversations in his stream. So yeah, if I had to pick one, it would be Glitch Cat. I mean, it was definitely like the people that got me into it. As far as when I first started, it would be you know, Ryukar and Barb and Grand Pooh Bear, they were the
Right.
first ones that I would like, oh, they put out a new episode on YouTube. I'm gonna watch that. But Glitch Cat was the first stream I started like showing up to. That was the first one that was like kind of made me realize that it was like this is more than just the watching Twitch experience is more than just gameplay.
Right. Right.
Where before that it was kind of like I want to see this person clear hard level, and the person, I obviously enjoy their personality enough to watch a whatever 20-30 minute YouTube video, but Glitch Cat was the first one that I like really started showing up for the streams and engaging in the streams. um I was talking about after work I would come home and put a stream on. A lot of times it was Glitch Cat until he
Right.
ended. After that, I'd watch Defy by Default, who's a smaller streamer, but he's been blowing up on TikTok.
Dude, I love Defy. I miss.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to ask him about it, but I am gonna ask him. I haven't reached out to him yet, but because of the interview videos that he used to make, like the fake interview videos that he would do with the guys, you remember those?
Yeah.
Where it'd be like the back of like Barb's head or the back of Pooh Bear's head or whatever, and like he would ask questions and use clips from their stream to answer them. I always thought that was so freaking cool, and like I do plan on asking him to be on this podcast at some point. He is awesome. He's such a cool dude.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
And Glitchcat's awesome too, man. He is so humble, and like every interaction I've had with him is absolutely, like, he is so nice, and it's just like, oh dude, thanks for being so nice. Like he's he's commented on some of my tweets and stuff, and like he's really cool. I think the first person I ever like idolized in the Kaizo community would be Pooh for sure. But more on like the Mario Maker side. Like I deathless ran one of his bigger Mario Maker levels, and like that's kind of how I got his attention, and he rated into me.
Nice.
And he was super nice about it. One time he got like a $10,000 donation on stream, and like he ended up rating into me and like gifting like a bunch of subs and stuff. Super cool dude.
Oh,
man.
wow.
He is awesome.
That's awesome. That's very cool of him.
Dude, he is so awesome. Yeah. I have to say though, I think my favorite Kaizo player though is definitely Laser.
Sure.
Dude, I love his stream so much, and like his aesthetic and just the way that he goes about it, and like I don't know, just I watched his entire, like, him coming back around to get the new world record for Grand Poo World again. Like I watched it for months straight. I would watch him play the same hack over and over and over again, and it was like the most entertaining thing in the world. And I think that's really what got me to make the switch from Mario Maker to actually playing ROM hacks and stuff, because I was like, dude, I've seen him play Grand Poo World so many times. Just I know everything about this hack. Like I could totally go in there and do it. And then like I started playing it and made it 8 levels in after 37 hours.
Right. Oh, that's funny. I was wondering what the story was for Grand Poo World. Is it because that was your first hack, if I'm not mistaken?
That was my. I honestly think it may have been my second hack. I think I played, but I think it was inconsequent. I think I played Quickie World. You know what I mean? So like it went like 30 minutes or whatever. It may have been a little bit longer than that, but like it was a very short session. Like I played through Quickie World, and like I felt like I had like the basics down, and then I was like, I'm gonna tackle this behemoth. And there was some other dude did that at one point who had never played. You may know his. I can't think of his name. Right. Doshi Bag, yeah, never played a Mario game before, and picked up Grand Poo World and played for like hundreds of hours until he finally beat it. And so like I kind of. Like Tofu had been pretty much saying the same thing, like, and comparing me to that dude and stuff. And I was like, damn, dude. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if this is a compliment or like a backhanded.
I mean, the tenacity. I mean, the freaking tenacity. I've watched that, like, because he uploaded a lot of it to YouTube, but I've watched that like end clip when he finally beat the Grand Poo World Bowser a number of times. And I mean, like, for me, Grand Poo World 1 was this like looming behemoth. Like Grand Poo World 1 was one of the first ROM hacks that I like talking about Ryukar, Grand Pooh Bear, that I'd watch them play that, like, oh, they have a new episode up on YouTube with a level or two of Grand Poo World. And just like anything at that time, I'm like, that looks cool, but I'll never be able to do it. And I thought that about Akagari, about Invictus, about Grand Poo World 2, and kind of all those other hacks. I beat Akagari, at this point 5 years ago, and then I beat Invictus 4 years ago, and Grand Poo World 3 years ago, or Grand Poo World 2 3 years ago. But I never came back to Grand Poo World 1 until, I don't know, I mean, maybe a year ago now.
Right.
And that was one of my proudest ROM hack accomplishments. It's this looming behemoth that had been around, my entire Kaizo career, and I finally knocked it out. And it's it's not just hard, but it's since it's an older hack, it has vanilla retry. For anyone watching unfamiliar, most Kaizo has fast retry. It takes you back to the overworld every time. So that's like 12 seconds every death, and you're dying, in the first 2 seconds of a
Instantly.
level 20
La-
times. Like
Laser
it's
actually,
time.
I think it was Laser actually said something about that though. He said that for early ROM hackers who were trying to get into harder ROM hacks, that could actually be beneficial
Yeah.
to not have the instant retry, because it gives you a second to like think and process what just happened, instead of continually doing the same thing over and over and over again and hitting that instant
Mhm.
retry immediately and just like wrecking your hands and like just going at it as hard as you can. Having that death and going back to the overworld and having to go back into the level and stuff kind of gives you a second to like really think about it and process. And like i I don't know, that's stuck with me. I definitely do like the instant retry better. I'm in that boat. I definitely do. But it made me think about it. I'm like, when I do play ROM hacks and I do like go up against something that is really difficult, like it's not a bad idea to like take a second, observe like what's going on, like really
Mhm.
try to process what's happening and what you're doing wrong, and then like try to come at it from different angles instead of just doing the same
Yeah.
thing and instead of trying to brute force it, you know what I mean?
Sure. No, and I would agree. I mean, there's the vanilla retry, which is the original one. There's the retry prompt, so it like brings the thing up on the screen, lets you retry or exit. And then there's instant retry. And I would say I like the prompt the best, but after that, I would take vanilla retry over the instant. That just flashes you back because you like with vanilla, you can analyze the screen, like you said, you can think about it for a
Right.
minute. Like I don't dislike vanilla retry. It's just a whole different experience.
It
And
is.
RiffWorld 2 is a hack that's like 2 years old now, so very modern in like level design, but it has vanilla retry. And that was my first like real hard vanilla retry hack, and I thought I would hate it, but I had to get used to it. The first kind of playing session, it took me a little while to get used to, but like I don't dislike it.
Well,
And
also
Rift 2 is a wonderful game.
depending on your play style. I mean, I guess since you do the S2, I can't even think of it right. The way that your NES is set up, like you can't set
Yeah.
up save states, right?
No, I have the save state firmware, so you can.
Okay.
Um, I had to. It's like an aftermarket firmware, so I basically had to update the operating system of the SD to SNES,
Right.
um, in a
I
way that it had a save state option.
I had never
Um,
really thought about doing it, like, because in my back of my mind, I'm always like, like if you use save states, like that's cheating. Like you're using it to like get past it without actually playing the level. But then like watching the way that Laser does it, where it's like if he cannot figure out how to get past something, like he will continually save state through the level just to figure out the mechanics of it, and then go back to the beginning of the level
sure.
and play through it like normally. And like
Yeah, that's actually I very recently started doing that because I had that same, it's like, no, I'm gonna play it, straight up RTA beginning all the way through. But it's like if there's a death that I can't get past 3/4 of the way into the level, why not save state there, take a couple whacks at it, figure it out a little bit, and go back to the beginning.
yeah,
That's just a matter of there's only so much time.
right.
It's like if I can figure something out in an hour instead of 4 hours, like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely definitely a time saver. I mean, especially if it's a mechanic or just like you're just trying to figure out how to do it. It gives you a
Yeah,
little bit of an advantage there. I think if I had done that for the original, like when I first tried to take on Grand Poo World, I probably would have finished it. I probably would have beat it at that
sure.
point.
Yeah.
So going back to it, I may end up doing a little bit of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't
Whatever's
even,
fun. I mean, there was definitely a vibe in the kaizo community for a long time that like save states are cheating. You're not really doing it right, but it feels like a lot of folks have come around to it's a game. Whatever's
oh,
fun for you.
yeah, we
You
won't we
know.
won't get into that, but there was a really
Sure.
toxic side to the Mario community up until
Yeah.
recently. It seems like all that's kind of chilled out now, but dude, for a
Yeah.
while,
Agreed.
like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, it was like it
Yeah.
was awful for a bit. But yeah, no, I'm glad to see that that's kind of changed, and like there's a lot more welcoming of new people into the community, and like it seems to be a lot nicer. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely loving that. It's
And that's
not.
something. I mean, just talking about new people. It's like I don't know. Like I remember when Quickie World, like Quickie World, the ubiquitous beginner hack, the first real beginner hack. Like I remember when that, like those levels took me hours, and it's like it doesn't matter that I'm beating Grand Poo World 2 or whatever now. Like those people that come into my stream or I see in other streams that are like, I beat level 2 a Quickie. It's like that is awesome. That's hard.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
happy for you.
absolutely. I mean, any of that stuff, dude. Yeah, no, I love seeing that. It's like, I I don't know if you ever like pay attention to the Dark Souls community, like through Barb or anything, but like, dude, watching people play Dark Souls for the first time gives me that same feeling. Like
Sure.
it could be watching people get frustrated apart and then like work through it, figure it out, and finally get past it. You feel accomplished for them. Like I get so happy seeing new players finally like get past something that's been giving them like a lot of trouble. Like that's one of my, I love watching people play Dark Souls for the first time. It's so good. It's so good to see the same struggles that you went through, but then also see them like work through it and get past it. It's so nice. So yeah, with Mario, it's the same way.
Very parallel. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh, I was gonna say, dude, so you got me onto Blue Sky, or like you helped get me onto the Blue Sky app.
Sure. Yeah.
Did you notice that, or did you know that Valdio is on there now?
Yeah. Valdio followed me, and I noticed he was off Twitter for a long time.
Yeah.
You know.
He got on to announce the third Quickie World. Was it with a Vengeance or whatever?
Right.
Yeah, that was the last time I saw him on Twitter. So yeah, it was nice seeing him on Blue Sky and stuff. I got commented on one of his posts, and yeah, he's one of my
talk about a pillar of the Kaizo community.
Dude,
I mean, I think that
real.
guy making Quickie World got more people into Super Mario World Kaizo by giving, Quickie's hard, but it's a stepping stone. It's not, before Quickie World, it was like you jump into Dram or Kaizo 1, or, there were a couple, like there was Gracie World, which by today's standards is a pretty tough intermediate hack, but that was like easy at the time.
That was what I was told. I think that's what Tofu told me, was go from, he was like, play Akogari, then like Dram 2, and then Grand Poo World, like go in that order. If I remember correctly, he was like, if you want like a good scale getting you up to that point, do those two first, and then Akogari is still one of my favorites, dude. I loved Akogari. I love Akogari. Yeah, it's so good. Shit, I was gonna say something else. Now I can't remember. This happens once an episode. There will be a moment in every episode where I'm like, oh, I was gonna say something. I can't remember what I was gonna say. Dude, we can get silly for a moment. I'm gonna ask you a silly question and see where you're at with this. All right. How would you design a treasure map for an office scavenger hunt, and what clues would lead to the ultimate prize? Take office out of there. Just say scavenger hunt. How would you design a treasure map for a scavenger hunt, and what clues would lead to the prize? Do you want a different one? Do you want you?
Yeah, I'll take a different one. I'll think about that one, but I don't know about that.
If you want to pass on any of these, you're a chef, so you'll like this one. If you were a dessert, what would your secret ingredient be, and why would it make you irresistible?
Oh, I mean, for me, the chefy answer is salt. It would be salt in a dessert, because salt just makes everything more delicious. Like, you can salt things without making them salty. And if you ever had every single Toll House cookie, this brownie mix, it calls for a quarter teaspoon of salt. And you put it in because you're following the recipe, but if you were to make that without that tiny little bit of salt, it would be so much blander. It would be so much lamer. And I'll do that for anything. It's you're making strawberry shortcake, for example. You're going to take some strawberries, cut them up, mix them up with some sugar, let them kind of juice out. It's called macerating them. In that, I'll throw a little bit of salt in. It's just that little subtle, don't even necessarily know it's there, but it's way better because it's there.
That is such a great answer. I love that, because that hits both parts of the question, because you wouldn't even know it's there, but without it, it would definitely change and lessen the experience. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. I love it. Salt is a perfect answer. Also, it's salt. So
yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, if you could have one item from a science fiction movie, what would it be, and how would you use it in your daily life?
Oh, I mean, maybe. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is like a teleporter. Just like get rid of all those like just time suck part of the days. Like I don't want to commute to work. Like I don't cook right now. I work in a meat shop. That comes along with the whole like talking earlier about working like freaking 12 to 14-hour days.
Yeah.
I got over that, but like it's like, I don't mind going to work, but like I don't like sitting in traffic, Like
Yeah.
I would think just kind of, oh, you want to go on a vacation to wherever? I was talking about Yellowstone or go to, freaking Paris. Like, all right, we're there.
There's a company
Probably.
there's a company that's trying to mass produce, like, for commercial use, flying cars by next year. And
Oh, wow.
imagine there it's like it looks like a pod with like 4 drones attached to it, essentially. And
Okay.
like the battery life on it, I think, is like 8 to 13 hours or something like that. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind because, like, how would you? Obviously, you could have some sort of sensor on it that would, like, okay, if you get this close to like an object, we're not going to let you get closer to that object. But if you had
Sure.
like thousands of those things flying around the sky, like, how? I don't understand how they would handle all of that. There would have to be like sky lanes or something out there
Yeah.
to tell you where to go. But I think that's crazy that, the cliche answer of like, what did you think the future would be like, or what did you think that 2020? Did you think we'd have? What did you think we'd have by then? And everybody says flying cars, and now
On
it's like
cars.
we're like finally like in the baby stages of that happening. Like, it seems
Right.
like, because it's not just like a couple of dudes in their garage. Like, they have a plant. They have like an entire
Right.
plant, and they are like literally mass producing these things. And it looks like with cheap enough materials, I say cheap enough, but affordable for like
Sure.
normal
Yeah.
people to be able to buy, because like you could afford 4 drones in a pod, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah, so it seems like it, we're finally getting to that point where like we are going to get some version of that at some point. Elon
Yeah.
is trying to get everybody into electric cars by 2028, and get gas vehicles off the road. And I don't know,
Right.
man, it's crazy that we've been through these huge historical jumps of technology in our lifetime, and like that's continuing to happen. We're at the precipice of like something else big happening, whether
Sure.
it's medical or like technological, like, just whatever it is, man. It's going to be something crazy. So I mean,
Oh, it's wild.
as
It's
bad as the
absolutely
world
wild to think.
yeah, as bad as the world seems right now, it really feels
Sure.
like within the next 6 years or so, we're gonna see some crazy shit that we have never seen before happen.
Yeah, I mean, think about, like you said, when we were kids, like, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, like, difference in technology, like, it's wild. We have, at the tip of our fingers, every freaking, all the information in the world that you could ever, think of or ask for. Like, it's wild to think
Yep.
how much, the internet went from just this, like, thing that a few nerds did and took 2 hours to download a picture
Yeah.
to, like, instant
And
anything, anytime, anywhere.
we're still playing Super Mario World. That's
And we're
crazy.
still playing Super Mario World. Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. No, that's awesome. I never would have thought that in a million years. And like we went through. It was crazy, like the retro boom, man. The games, you could go buy any game like GameStop or something for like a couple bucks until, like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and now like the
Yeah,
prices are hiked up on everything. It's crazy.
right.
Um, what's the last thing you binge watched?
The last thing I binge watched. I don't know. We try not to really like binge watch. I think the last thing I really binge watched was Avatar: The Last Airbender. Um I don't watch a whole ton of TV, and like I mean I watch YouTube, so it's not like I don't watch TV. But my wife and I will like find a show, and we kind of make it a point to like we're gonna watch one episode a week. We're gonna savor it because it was like we both could get into that like, oh, put another one, put another one, put
Right,
another one,
right, right.
and then this thing that was awesome is suddenly in 2 weeks done.
Yeah,
Um, so
you try to
we
spread
make
it
it a
out and
point to
savor it.
not.
Yeah,
But I think it was probably Avatar: The Last Airbender would probably, and this would have been, I don't know, a year ago, something like that. I had never seen the show. Um, when I was growing up, it came out, and like My brother is 3 years younger than me, and he loved it. He loved Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I
Right.
was right at that age where I was like, "No, that's a kid show. That's a cartoon. I don't wanna, I'm too old for that." Um, and my wife was talking about it, and it was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And then it was definitely just a like, "Okay, we watched all of season 2 on a
Yeah,
Sunday,"
yeah. I lucked out. I got sick from school one day, and Nickelodeon was running a marathon on like the first 2 seasons or whatever, and that was my introduction to it. I was like, hell yeah, it's not Price is Right or like whatever else
Mhm.
comes on
Yeah.
when you stay home sick from school. Beast Wars, although Beast
Mhm.
Wars is awesome. But you only get like an episode of that, and then if mom's around, it's like Golden
Sure.
Girls or like Designing Women or something. Yeah. So like I got to binge watch Avatar and it was awesome. But yeah,
Nice.
no, I get that. We go through phases. So what we'll like, we watch like the new seasons of stuff as they come out. We will binge watch the shit out of them. Like we'll watch an episode a night or 2 episodes a night or
Mhm.
whatever. But those go by quick, and if it's coming out
Yeah.
week to week or whatever, you only get 1 hour a week of it. And so in the
Mhm.
in-between times, like we might toss something on in the background like while we're working on other projects or doing something. But that's cool that you guys have like, you'll pick a show and like we're gonna savor this and we're just gonna watch like 1 episode a week. I think that's really cool. I think that's sweet.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see, like, the streaming services seem to kind of be getting back to that. I think there's with Netflix and like binge watching like became this huge thing, but I think the companies are kind of realizing too that it's like if you have this amazing show you worked on for however many years and then everybody watches it in a week, like hype dies down immediately,
Yeah.
you know. But you look at, I know Disney Plus does it a lot. We'll watch a lot of the Marvel stuff. I mean, less so since like after the whatever it was, the Infinity War, it just is so
Right.
chaotic now. I can't do all the homework required to keep up on Marvel.
Oh god, I
Um,
love it. I love it. So, cuz
yeah,
I'm a huge comic book nerd. Like
sure.
a lot of these stories that they're adapting and stuff, like I read the comics from that and
Oh, nice,
seeing all the differences and changes. Like I'm up to date with it. And I love
nice.
watching people get super angry about stuff like She-Hulk. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Bro, if you read the She-Hulk comic, that was literally the entire thing." You know what I mean? Like
Uh,
she's not, unless she's a part of like the Avengers or whatever, she's not like an action like I'm gonna go take down a bunch of bad guys unless she's
sure.
like a part of the team and it's like a crossover thing. Like her
Mhm.
standalone arcs are usually like goofy court dramas and like there's a lot of fourth wall breaking and like
Oh, nice.
I don't know. It was fun to like watch everybody get mad about that, and I
Yeah.
hope they bring more of that because I love it. I don't know. It's so good.
Yeah, we've been watching Loki. Like that was one we
Yeah.
really liked Loki, and that's one that it's like we watched one episode last week. I don't know if episode 2's out yet, but like
It is.
watch that one.
It's
You
I
know.
love it. So the first season was great. The second
Mhm.
season is already like way better than the first season, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers. It's really, if you haven't seen the second episode yet, you should. It's great. It's
Oh,
great.
we will. We'll definitely watch it. And I love all that, like timey-wimey, bunch of different timelines, and like I'm super excited to see what happens with Kang, and like, you know, I do like it. I do like the Marvel stuff, and even if it's like a lot of them are just like from the movie perspective, cheeseball. Like you've got the good guy and then the bad guy who has the same powers. Like
Right.
it's just they're fun movies.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they're not Oscar winners. I mean, the same
Sure.
thing could be said for the DC stuff. I mean, everybody like the DC movies are not as good as the Marvel movies. Like they're not even
Mhm.
like comparable. I still enjoy the DC movies cuz like I don't go in expecting that same experience. I don't want that same experience. Like I want to be able to just let my brain shut off, enjoy whatever it is they're about to show me and take it for what it is. Like
Yeah.
movies and TV critics are just, everybody's so tight-assed. Like
Yeah.
I gotta be a contrarian and I gotta have a negative opinion about everything that comes out because I can't just enjoy it for what it is. And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
just let go and just enjoy
Yeah.
it
Having
you
a fun
know
movie that's fun because it's a fun time is like, who cares if the dialogue's cheesy and who cares if it's 2/3 explosions and 1/3 exposition. Like
right,
that's
right.
don't expect freaking whatever Schindler's List when you're going to see Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
it's
Exactly. No, that's great. That's a great way to put it. All right. So we are at the end of our hour, and this has been a lot of fun nerding out with
Yeah.
you about the Mario community and about comic books and stuff. I do have one more question. This is a tradition that I ask every one of my guests at the end of each episode. If I were to put you on a podium in front of 1 million people and you were able to speak your piece, now some people in the past have gone like the mental health route. Some people have just said, be kind. Some people, one person just said mommy milkers, which I thought was hilarious, and that was awesome.
Nice.
There's no wrong answer here.
Sure.
There's no wrong answer here. But if you had a chance to speak in front of 1 million people, like what would you say?
Oh, I don't know. And I mean, that's like a lot of pressure, is just what I'm thinking is the answer, but it's just, I don't know. Be like Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other, Just like, I don't know. Everyone's struggling the same struggle, and like, give everyone take a deep breath, try to put yourself into each other's shoes. You don't know what other people are going through, so, give people some slack, be nice to each other.
I honestly,
be nice back to you.
That's probably the most relatable answer, like what you first said. I think if really real world, if I was put in front of 1 million people and like they just handed me a microphone, that would be the first thing I would say. I'd be like, this is a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
Right.
And then I would try to launch into something, meaningful. It'd be like, yeah, like be excellent to each other, But yeah,
Sure.
I'd probably break the ice with that and be like, this is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
this
that's
is awkward.
great.
I'm nervous.
So for the million of you watching at home, you heard it here from Omnom. This is a lot of pressure. Yeah. Be excellent to each other. Take care of each other. Be understanding of each other's plights, and we're all in the space rock together. So again, I'd like to thank my guest Omnom for being here, dude. This was incredible. Thank you for playing games with me 2 nights this week.
Yeah, it was nice. We got a bonus.
Got a double
thanks so much
dose.
for having me. This is a lot of fun, and it means a lot that you invited me. So thank you for having me. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, it means a lot. This is a lot of fun.
Absolutely, dude. The pleasure is equally. The pleasure is equal. We'll just say that. There was a word I was going to use, and I can't remember what the word was. But the pleasure was equal, dude. And we will do this again sometime. I'm trying to get to the point. I still have a lot of people I want to ask to be on the show, but I do want to wrap back around and ask a lot of people to be back on the show. And even beyond the show, man. I just want to, play more video games with you. I keep thinking at some point, somehow, I want to make it happen. I'd like to play some Donkey Kong Country with you. I think that'd be incredible. I think we'd have a lot of fun with that. So you guys watching at home, check out his links right below him. Go follow Nom on twitch.tv and enjoy some of the best Mario playing and company that you can find on Twitch. So until next time, this has been Wonder Bathos, and good night.